Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see on the screen with me, Fran McCaffery, head men's basketball coach. Let's talk about Luka and Joe Wieskamp, and what a great tradition you've had since you've been here with the Peter Jocks of the world, Jared Uthoffs, Aaron White. If I'm going to start mentioning people, I'm going to leave somebody off. Devin Marble, multiple other great players you had. So help me out if I've forgotten some guys.
Tyler Cook,
there you go.
He's playing for the Bulls.
Yep.
Yeah.
So great players leading up to last year. And gosh, I just wish, Luka breaking the all-time scoring record, J-Bo, my friend Jeff Horner and your buddy as well, former Hawkeye great, breaking his assist record. And wasn't that ironic or cool that J-Bo broke the record getting an assist to Luka? So how appropriate all that is.
Yeah, I mean, Luka was, a once in a generation player. I mean, the thing about him that I hope people appreciate is just how hard it was to be that consistent. Mm-hmm. Because every time we took the floor, the other team spent all kinds of time figuring out how they're going to stop him. Whether it be they were going to beat him up, whether they were going to double him from various locations on the floor, they were just going to try to deny him. But he was nonstop motion and as tenacious as anybody I've ever been around. So to put up 27 every night the way he did against the caliber of competition was amazing. But I will say it was impressive how our guys were locked into him. You talked about Jordan Bohannon breaking the assist record that stood for quite some time, but also, Connor McCaffery 2 years ago led the nation in assist turnover ratio, and then last year led the Big Ten in assist turnover ratio. So those guys were really locked into throwing him the ball. And as good a shooter as Joe was, Joe wasn't a selfish guy. He would pass it as well. So we moved the ball, shared the ball, and that was the one thing that I think when I would see people, they would talk about, I really love watching your team play because they're very unselfish, and they were.
No, and you're right with Joe Wieskamp wanting to, I think in a lot of people's minds, he wants to get his as well. But I'm glad you mentioned that about Connor as well, besides Joe Wieskamp. I've been told this for years, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do have to say this. I've been told by a lot of inside sources around the program, a lot of reporters, beat writers who cover you on a daily basis, and said if Connor McCaffery's name was Connor Smith, and he wasn't the coach's kid, he'd be the most popular. And I don't know if that's inherent with a coach's son, and that's what I want to get into. You've got a great family connection on this year's team, too, with the Murray boys, and they're legacy recruits because their dad, Kenyon, obviously played at Iowa. And then, of course, you've got Chris and Keegan, the twins. But how is that coaching your sons and your comments on that? And I know it's not a popularity contest, but I was always struck by that from other reporters saying, Connor leading the nation or being near the top of assist to turnover ratio, which is what guards are graded on primarily. That is an interesting comment that your son would be one of the most popular guys on campus or a fan favorite, and he still kind of is. But even more so if he wasn't a McCaffery.
Yeah, I think he's probably just scrutinized a little bit more. Yep. But I think most people appreciate what he does. He's always been on winning teams ever since he was little. AAU, travel teams, and then, of course, high school. They won an incredible number of games at West High. And then here, all we've done is win. And he is incredibly valuable on a number of different levels, not the least of which is not only can he play every position on the floor, he knows every position on the floor. And he is literally a coach on the floor. You say, well, he's a coach's son, he should be. Well, no, that's not true all the time. He really thinks the game and is incredibly impactful, especially if there's young guys on the floor or if we have guys on the floor who are trying to play more than one position. It seems like it should be easy, but it's not. And so he's constantly reminding people where to go on out of bounds plays, zone offense, set plays, late game action, defensively, what we're doing, if we're man, if we're zone, if we're 1-3-1, if we're 1-2-2, three-quarter. He's constantly directing everybody where to go. And there's a level of calm that exists on the floor whenever he's out there.
We'll be right back with more Hawkeyed with Dave O'Hara and Iowa men's basketball head coach Fran McCaffery.
In farming, everybody knows relationships drive the industry. And with Merschman Seeds, you've got a friend in the field. Hi, this is Joe Merschman. We're the friend that delivers with extraordinary speed. We're the friend that shares knowledge and innovation. We're the friend that cares about your yields and profits. And we just happen to have the most advanced seed technology in the industry. When you choose the best seed, you also get the best people. Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
So then we go into Patrick, and a couple of years younger than Connor, but played, I'm a younger brother to 3 older brothers, and I know how that goes. But it is interesting now that, and you and I and Margaret talked in segments in the past about your connection, obviously, with AYA and the Fight with Flash Foundation and Coaches Against Cancer, and what a shame it is right now what Dick Vitale's going through, and the Schraders and I have talked about that. But Dickie V's going to beat it, and Cancer picked the wrong guy to mess with, didn't they?
Yes, they did. It's been an incredible journey for me, starting with my first involvement with Coaches versus Cancer, because I lost both my parents to cancer. And then, of course, when Patrick got cancer, it was at a time that really shed light on what was going on. It was a national story. Yeah. And then, of course, when Flash got cancer shortly thereafter, and that bond was something that we could talk about for hours. Yeah. It was so incredible to see the strength that they got from each other as they fought this illness. And then through our involvement with Coaches versus Cancer, I joined the National Council. Margaret joined the National Board for the American Cancer Society. So the V Foundation and Coaches versus Cancer are 2 different entities, but essentially doing the same things. Right. So we're very involved with Dickie V, and Dickie V's relationship with Flash was so unique.
And Franny still talks about him every game that he does, 6 games last year or 7, and I always message with the Schraders, Craig and Stacy, back and forth, and he mentions Austin Flash Schrader.
Well, the reason he does that is because, when Austin failed the induction phase of chemo, as you can imagine, that was a dreadful day for the Schrader family and all of us who loved him. Yeah. So Margaret and I were driving to visit Flash and the Schraders at the hospital, and Margaret's like, we should call Dickie V and get Dickie V on the phone, because Flash needed a little pep talk. And
who better than Dick Vitale?
Well, he's the best there is.
Yeah.
And he was at Disney with his grandchildren. So call me when you get to the hospital. We got him on the phone with Flash. We got him on the phone with Craig. And Flash perked right up. He was in all kinds of pain. And the room just lit up. You could hear him right through the phone. Mm-hmm. So he's felt a connection with Flash from that point forward. And then, this year at his event, Craig spoke with Stacy at his side, and they named a clinical trial after Austin. And that was announced after a young boy got up and said, were it not for clinical trials, I wouldn't be here tonight. So, hopefully the impact that Flash has had in that area will give a lot of more people birthdays.
Yeah, and to your point, when you mentioned about the Schraders, growing up with Craig, he's a few years younger than me, but his older brothers and I grew up together playing ball together, and I've known the Schrader family forever as they've known the O'Hara family, my family, and my mom is a cancer survivor. I lost an older brother to a car accident. So Craig, he always says to me, your family knows what it's like. However you lose a child, and such an insidious disease with cancer, and with Austin, his original diagnosis was he was 90%, he was going to beat it or survive. And then this wicked disease turns its ugly head.
Yeah, he had a very aggressive form of cancer. And boy, we tried everything. The doctors were really diligent and talked to people here. Of course, we have a comprehensive cancer center. It's as good as any in the world. But they reached out to other folks, and they tried a number of different things. And he really fought. The strength that he showed and the strength he got from the love of his family and friends was really something to see. And it's just great that he's remembered the way he is. Well,
and again, you're too humble to say this, but I'll say it for you. You and Margaret, with your involvement, not just with Dickie V, but introducing the Schraders to that world. and helping them in fundraising or getting going. And, Craig said how overwhelming it was after the funeral to get things going, and his neighbors and other people had done things. And Craig's a finance guy. And he said it was even overwhelming for him. And so it's always been his mission to offer, financial support or gather funding, offer support, he and Stacy, to families going through this. And of course, the awareness, which again, cancer picked the wrong guy in Dickie V to keep things quiet, because that's not Dickie's way. And all over, Dickie V's social media the last couple of weeks, getting into his broadcasting schedule, he's still going to fight this.
Oh, he'll fight it and he'll beat it. And we need him. I mean, what he's able to do, the most recent event that he hosted, that we were there with the Schraders and the Schaefers.
Yes.
They raised $6.5 million in one night. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody else on planet Earth that could do that. The energy and the passion that he has for this fight is something that's incredible, and so many people are alive because of it.
To your point, we had Brad and Darcy Schaefer on the show when the Schraders were gone, and so they sat in for the Schraders, and now you and Margaret sit in today for them, or did for our web exclusive. And that's the thing I find fascinating, Fran, is what you and Margaret have done in putting them into this world, and now the Schraders are doing that to everyone else that they come in contact with, like the Schaefers and Tater Tuff. And as long as we can keep teaming up together, and that's why we do this segment each week, the Fight with Flash Foundation segment on the website, but also for the TV show Hawkeye, but also DaveO'HaraSports.com. And we just can't make it aware enough. And Craig and I and Stacy just talked about this last week, Fran, how amazing it is to me that even someone like Dick Vitale gets cancer, the famous ESPN broadcaster for basketball, and people still say, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. It is interesting, unless it happens to you directly or somebody, it takes someone famous like Dick Vitale to get cancer for a lot of people to get, oh, that's right.
Yeah, and he's the best there is at it.
Yeah.
But, it's not hard to motivate people when they've been through it, like we have, like the Schraders, the Schaefers. But at some level, everybody is touched by it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a lot to motivate those folks. We have an event every year that benefits the AYA program, Adolescent Young Adult Cancer Program, for the University of Iowa Hospital Comprehensive Cancer Center. So we're very much involved in that, and it's very important to us. But people come and people support it, and people want to support it, and they support it every year, just like they're doing the same for the Flight for Flash Foundation. And I will say this, I've been incredibly moved by the kindness and generosity shown by pretty much everybody in the state of Iowa after what we've been through.
Oh, absolutely. And there's so many different paths we can go down with AYA, as you mentioned, and adolescent young adult, as Craig has talked about, and Stacy with the 13 to 39, but also DIPG with the strain that Tate Schaefer had, Tater Tuff. So there are so many different ways that funding can go. And thanks again, viewers, for always being a part of that, either Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org, or again, go to DaveO'HaraSports.com. We have everything linked there. So Fran, before we transition and talk about this year's team, Patrick looks like he is 100% healthy. You had said the other day that he is, sure looks it, and came out the other side. If you would, and I know I don't want to take up all your time, but I think this bears repeating or mentioning from the past, that Tennessee game when you lost the first opening, or the play-in game, I guess, your first NCAA game here as a coach at Iowa, was a day you had Patrick's surgery that morning. You fly off to coach the game that night. Yes, coaching's important. Yes, basketball in the state of Iowa and the Big Ten is important. But that's your son, that's your family. What a day you had. Just take us into a small snippet of that, please.
Well, it really just wasn't one day. I mean, we obviously had a lot of emotion leading up to that.
Sure.
His surgery was scheduled the day that the bids came out, so it's kind of ironic that they were on the same day. So we, of course, left before, so we flew over to Dayton to prepare for the game. We pretty much had all of our game plan in. I flew home the night before his surgery, which was early in the morning, and the plan was, if he, everything goes well, I'll fly back and coach the game. If there's any setback at all, I won't go. The surgery went extremely well. We were very thankful for that. I spoke to Patrick, and then Margaret's dad drove me back to the airport and had a plane ready for me, and I went back. And of course, we lost in overtime, an incredible game, and kids really fought hard. And then I flew home right after the game, and we celebrated Patrick's 14th birthday the next day in the hospital. Then he came home, and we all felt so good. We had a bunch of family in town, and for obvious reason. And then it was the next day that we got the phone call that it was malignant, because the surgery was to remove a thyroid tumor, but we didn't know if it was benign or malignant yet. So it was that Friday when we got the word that it was malignant. So that, of course, changed the path of his treatment moving forward. So that was incredibly emotional. I have to wake him up and tell him, he's got cancer.
Yeah.
So it was incredibly tough for Margaret and I, but he was phenomenally resilient, and he always has been. He just fought and fought and fought, and his relationship with Flash was very helpful in that regard. And it's so much fun to watch him play. Like you said, he looks great. Physically, he's in a great place. He did have 2 sprained ankles earlier that set him back a little bit, but he seems to be doing okay now.
We'll be right back with more Hawkeyed with Dave O'Hara and redshirt sophomore forward Patrick McCaffery.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology, or a seed company that's writing the book on it? Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Mershman Seeds has been treating soybeans for decades, long before it was commonplace. We're the leader in technology, introducing Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, with an added fungicide to help produce a faster, more even emergence every single time. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see on the screen, I've located my buddy Patrick McCaffery. Going to close out on this year's Hawkeye men's basketball team, the 2021-2022 version, as well as Patrick's future. We've heard a lot of the past, and now we're moving forward. So let's talk about the present before we go to that future. How the Hawks looking this year? Man, you started off big already, the exhibition game and last night's game against Longwood. Footnote again, listeners and viewers, Patrick here with us after the late game last night. So thanks again for staying with us, and let's talk about this year's team. How you feeling?
Good, really good. I really like our team. I think we have a lot of guys that can make an impact. Obviously, Keegan is somebody that's kind of going to take the next step. I feel as though I'm somebody who can kind of take the next step. Yeah. Jordan is somebody who's been through everything, seen it all. Somebody who's obviously the best shooter. Well, I guess maybe not yet, but the best shooter in the history of the Big Ten. He will be at some.
Will be correct.
Maybe on Friday.
Yes.
But and then guys like Joe T, who's really, I don't even know how to begin to start talking about Joe T. That's my guy, but really good defender and really good floor general. And then guys like Phillip.
Joe Toussaint is faster with a ball in his hand than most people running, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, he's fat, really fast, but really slow off the court. It takes his time. He just stops and smells the roses. That guy.
Okay.
Just yeah. But and then a lot of guys, like I'm excited to see guys like Aaron Eulis, Tony Perkins, and somebody I've been really impressed with is Peyton Sanford. I've obviously had to guard him every day. He's somebody that's really, really good, I think, and is going to have a really, really big time career here. So, I think we have a lot of different weapons that could make noise on any given night, and we're still kind of I feel like we're still all trying to get comfortable out there in the game atmosphere, and I feel like these last 2 games have been big for that. And I'm really excited. I think we can do a lot of really big things with this team.
You know what I love hearing too is we've given plenty of props with your brother, with your parents, with you, for Luka Garza and Joe Wieskamp now in the NBA. But we got a new regime and a new team, and I think it's going to be much more open. You guys run. You're long. You're lean. I mean, you're 6'9", 6'10". Keegan 6'8"-ish. Chris 6'7", 6'8", and I'm fudging a few numbers here, but I walked into the studio. I'm 6'3", and you dwarfed me. So you've grown in the last couple of years. Now you're 100% healthy. It's going to be a fun team to watch. You guys are going to get it off the glass, get it out, and from what I've early indications, Philip Obracha, same thing. Got a lot of guys that have that, I guess they call it Euro-style ball now, where all you can play all 5 positions. You run, jump, shoot, defend, get that ball off the glass and get it out. It's going to be a fun brand of basketball.
Absolutely, yeah. We can all get it off the glass and go. Everybody can push it. It's not like Joe T's sitting there waiting with his hands out like this. Everybody can get it and go. Everybody can push the pace. Our wings run really, really wide. You got to pick Jordan up at 30 feet, so that's something that helps us.
Yes.
Me and Keegan both are pretty active cutters towards the basket, so you got to pick us up and you got to know where we are. Otherwise, we might just get a layup or something. And then Joe T's obviously.
In your case, dunk.
Yeah, exactly. Same with Keegan. But in Joe T's case, he can really push the pace. And then even Phillip has shown a couple times this year where he can get the ball and go and make the right decision and make a right play. And so, I think our first unit there has really got a lot of versatility, and we got a lot of guys that can just get the ball and push the rock.
Yeah, oh, by the way, your older brother, Connor, taking a leadership role coming off the bench, still at or near the top in the country of assist-to-turnover ratio, so rock solid there. You mentioned J-Bo, got to guard him from 30 feet. The thing that impresses me the most about all you guys, how well, I mean, this was said last year, but this year I can see as well, man, you guys are a tight unit. Everybody gets along so well and respects each other.
Yeah, I think that's something that is often overlooked in college basketball locker rooms. I think, if there's teams that you look at on paper should be better than what they are, I think that it starts in the locker room. It starts with the chemistry. Maybe the guys don't get along. Maybe some stuff went on behind the scenes that people don't necessarily know about. And luckily, I haven't really been able to deal with a lot of that stuff since I've been here. And we've always had a really tight-knit unit. So, I think that's something that's often overlooked. And we have a lot of really high-character guys. We don't have any jerks. Like, everybody's really cool. Everybody really gets along. So I really like our team.
So we asked Connor, I asked Connor this earlier in his segments, so I'll ask you directly. Big Ten, you're going to 2 extra Big Ten conference games this year, so 2 less non-conference games. I love what you said off camera, so bring it on camera. Would you say we're ready to prove it, or words to that effect? Please repeat that.
Yeah, I would just say, I think we're kind of slept on maybe by the national media a little bit. I think our people on our beat understand and watch us play every game, know what we're capable of, or at least have an idea.
Sure.
Whereas, other teams, or not other teams, other people maybe haven't seen as much, don't really understand, I think, what we're capable of. But I think, but really all that matters is what we believe in our locker room and what we think we're able to accomplish, what our coaches and what our players are able to think.
Yeah.
And we know we know what we're capable of. We believe we're an NCAA tournament team. We're going to go out there and we think we can win every game. There's no team on our schedule that we don't think we can beat. And we're ready to go out there and prove it. I think we got a lot of guys that have chips on our shoulders. And I think a lot of guys that are just really excited to go out there. I know I can speak for myself. I put in a ton of work over the summer. I'm ready to go out there and show people. And so I know.
That's what you said. I'm ready to show it. We're ready to prove it.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. And I know a lot, and I'm not alone in that. A lot of other guys have put in similar hours to me and are ready to go out there and prove to the world what they can do.
And what I love is, and you said this the other night, and a lot of your teammates will echo this, we got fans back in the stands now.
I love it.
Yes, that is a perfect stop right there. You just heard it, viewers. I love it, Patrick says, and your teammates as well. So in the last couple minutes we have with you as we close out here for this segment and this show, and again, thank you so much for your time and your family, your mom and your dad, your older brother Connor for joining us. It's been great talking to you guys as a family, but individually. What's in Patrick McCaffery's future? I know you're a young man. You got some years ahead of you at Iowa left, but what's on your mind for the future?
I'm really locked into college right now, just trying to be the best person I could be. Obviously, my goal, like every basketball player's goal, is to play professionally, whether in the NBA, overseas, wherever. But my dream ever since I was a little kid is playing in the NBA, so that's obviously where first place your mind goes when you talk about the future.
Absolutely.
So, but in the NBA or overseas, just play professionally. And then after that, who knows? Maybe come back, get into coaching, do some stuff like that.
A few coaches in your family.
Yeah, exactly. Do some. I really am into player development stuff, like working guys out. Like I think that's something that I haven't done a ton of it yet, but I think that's something that whenever I'm done playing, I could get into, and it could be really cool for me. And something I've really taken a liking to. I love going through the process myself. So, trying to help other people go through that same process is something I think is cool.
And the other thing I want to highlight, and great stuff, thank you for your candor in that, but the other thing I want to share with you viewers is Patrick McCaffery is going to be a great coach in life, not just for basketball. So you sharing your story, how difficult that is, and it's getting better each day. You said as you get older and you tell it more times, the benefit you bring to society, talking about your victory and your association with Craig and Stacey Schrader and Fight with Flash and your friendship with Austin before he passed and what you guys went through together. I can't even begin to tell you enough how proud I am of you. You're very welcome, and how happy I am that you joined us and gave us the time. What a great guy to talk to. I mean, I'm inspired and motivated, and gosh, you said this earlier. If you're able to do it and get your mindset and get these things accomplished, anybody can. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Truly my pleasure. For Patrick McCaffery, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, and I'll say it, the 2 most important words besides Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, cancer survivor.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. Patrick McCaffery, I'm Dave O'Hara for Hawkeye. Thanks for tuning in. That's all from us. Thanks to all of you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. We also share our gratitude with all of our partners and sponsors for all they do to make this show possible.